we're going to start going live right now, just FYI.
So we'll give about 2 or 3 more minutes to finish signing in, so we don't have that bouncing around.
Good morning. We are live here at the 2024 Texas Water Safari Seminar. Thank you for joining in. If you are here on Facebook, we know we have a watch party going on up in the Metroplex in DFW. Thank you to Safari veteran Clint Sutherland for organizing that. If you will just be so kind as if you have questions, put it in the chat in the comment box underneath, and I will relay your question at the appropriate moment to the presenters. We have Jay Daniel and Kristen Daniel from the Texas Water Safari Board. Also Bob Spain is here, and everyone is still signing in, but we're really glad that you joined us today. I'm having a little trouble shrinking the screen, but I'm going to do my best to follow the action and get you to see everything that the people here in the room are here seeing.
Can you shrink my belly while you're at it?
Do what?
Can you shrink my belly while you're
Suck it in, Jay. You've noticed Jay's had a haircut, and he's nice and trimmed and looks great today. So there will be no comments from the peanut gallery about Jay's haircut.
Is that Clay White?
Well, I'm waiting for Clay. And you can see we have a great turnout. Hello, everybody. Say hello to Facebook land. Hi. We do continuous coverage during the Texas Water Safari every year, even if it kills me. So, you know, if you are a paddler who is not already paddling or on a safety team or otherwise engaged, I could use you on the social media team.
All right, let me take care of some housekeeping things while people finish signing in. I mentioned it earlier. Back here to my left and your right, you see an open door that says exit over it. If you take that door, go down the ramp, there are restrooms to the right and left. So feel free to use those as you need. We'll break about noon for lunch. It's getting delivered. Kristen's gonna go pick up pizza. It's like the only time she lets me eat pizza anymore, so we get a bunch of it. Let's see, coffee, donuts. Back to my left, there are drinks in the ice chest. Back to my right, various and sundry stuff, water, soft drinks, no alcohol. That's in my truck.
Where you park?
What's that?
Where you park?
It's locked, but just right outside the door. And any other housekeeping stuff I missed? I think we probably got it down to a door roar over there, so we can go ahead and start. My name is Jay Daniel. I'm on the board of directors for the Water Safari. Over here to my far right is Jerry Cochran in the green jacket. He's been on the board of directors for about 30 years, maybe a little more than that at this point. Bob Spain and I came on the board in 2005. Alan Speltz, who's not here today, is the president of the Texas Water Safari Board, and he's been at this for about 25 years. And Harvey, if you're watching, we want to thank you for your 30-odd years of service to the Water Safari Board. Harvey went off of the board this year, and so we're in that transition. He took care of communications for us for a long time. Let's see, I had a list of people to make sure I did that for us. Kristen, my wife here, takes care of registration for us, so she will actually be probably the point person for most of your questions. So listen carefully and do it right the first time, because if you don't, then I have to hear it, and I'm grumpy. I've been grumpy a long time. Also helps us out quite a bit is Jerry's wife Linda, does most of the administrative work for the race, and she's been doing that, I guess, as long as Jerry's been on the board of directors. What's that? Does that sound right? I'm not making this stuff up, man. It's all true. And Bob's wife, Joy, actually does quite a bit of the artwork that you see on different T-shirts and swag of different sorts. So quite a few people that go into making this. There's some volunteers that we have that are regulars for us. The race chairman is generally Robin Reeves. He's done that for a long time. He is the world's largest man that has ever finished the water safari. If you argue with him, he can pick you up by your cranium and spike you like Wimby. So don't let that happen to you. And I want to thank Carlton Carl for the use of the space here in Martindale. It's really nice to get to have a spot that is given to us. Bob's going to come up here and talk about some things, sponsorship sort of stuff, and the Hall of Fame. And he's always good for a random stat or three.
Well, first of all, thanks for coming. It's a great crowd.
Right here, Bob, so we can hear you.
Okay.
And speak out.
Well, thanks for coming. It's a great crowd. You're one of the, I guess it's over 7,000 people have actually done this race. And what's amazing about this race is sometimes people call it almost like a family group because people come back every year. And if you'll look over there, right behind Jay, there's a Hall of Fame plaque, just to kind of give you an idea of how many people do this thing over and over. The top bunch of plates there that you see is 81. Those people have done it at least 10 times. And the second group of plates there that you see, those people have done it 20 times, and there's more to go on there, including this guy this year.
And Hoyt.
And Hoyt too, that's right, that have done 20. And this guy here has done it in an aluminum boat. So shake his hand. Has anybody aluminum boat? And he's done it every time.
Or meet his therapist.
Right?
Sir, three.
Okay.
Yes, the first time.
Anyway, he hasn't decided to use any other boat. Let me tell you, that's a slow boat to China when you're in a aluminum boat all right here. So you got to be used to that. And on the very bottom here, 5 people have done it at least 30 times. And then it's a little pack here. One guy has done it 40, I believe it's 40. So people come back every year. So if this is your first time, maybe you'll think about that as well. One thing that we couldn't do in this race if we didn't have our sponsors. Just recently, we took a look at our expenses and what it's costing every year. And 4 of the last 5 years, if we hadn't had sponsorship and had merchandise we sold, just the entries, we'd have lost money, several $1,000s in some cases. So first of all, we thank you for coming. But if you are a sponsor or you're thinking about doing that, in fact, I talked to a young lady this morning who told me about another possibility. Would come see me or contact me, get on the website and write an email if you're interested in being a sponsor, because we could not do it without our sponsors. And our main one, and I'll mention them, is GBRA. They do so many things for us. In addition to giving us money, they also clean the river. They help us at different checkpoints, and they're just a great sponsor, and we couldn't do it without them. I may talk about some more things later, but for now, was there anything else?
That was pretty much it.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to go through the rules pretty quickly here. We'll stop on a few things, and then we'll get to the course. We'll take a break, and then we'll get to the course description. Before I forget, there's a group of folks that I need to thank for getting me some work. Is Patty's on the social media team, and they the video that you were watching as you came in, Sandy Youngley.
She left.
She just left. Put that together for me. I could dang near do the course description just watching that video. The problem is I would make commentary about my friends as we did it. Also, Patty pretty much heads up our social media team. Ashley Landis, who, she's pretty good. She's an AP staff photographer who was one of the few folks that went to the Olympics when they were in Tokyo. So, if you now watch that name, Ashley Landis, every time you see like a sports photography thing, you're going to see her name at the bottom of it. And
I got a comment. She actually, when she went to work for AP, she got it written in her contract that she could come back to the water safari every year. Yep. So she's here every year. So that's pretty amazing. That she loves it.
That really speaks to the family aspect. Also, Kate Tart, who also keeps our driving guide updated. Let's see, who else? Jill Mulder. And there's some others that are kind of in and out.
We had ones that come in and out. Peter Rask did video, Leah Dotsenko did reels, and then we had the Isendorfs went in and did some live streaming from various places on the course last week. So.
Pretty entertaining stuff. So lots of people help us. So we're going to start with the registration, and Kristen will take care of most of what needs to be talked about there. Did I mention the chair thing? Who needs a chair?
A few people.
On the way? You didn't want to get made fun of, right? generally, this is the point. You know, it's like if you didn't bring a chair, it is important that you read everything that gets put out on our Instagram, on our Facebook, and on the website, because those updates, you know, there's no way at this point in time. How many people have done the race now, Bob?
Over 7,000.
Over 7 that we have. You know, some of them don't even have emails. Mine, you know, like AOL.com or something like that. Not really, but it'd be funny if it was. And so it's important that you keep up with this information as it comes out. You know, probably the most important rule that we have in here, and I would have to dig to actually remember where it is at the end of the competition rules. That's the rule that basically says we can make up any rule we need to whenever we need to. What that's really set up for is situations where the river's rising or, you know, something, and we need to make a mandatory portage or something along those lines. But we'll get to that later. I'll read this part, then I'll let you, this is the legal disclaimer stuff. Most important thing for those of us who have skin in the game, all team members, that is paddlers and team captains, will enter this race at their own risk, and the Texas Water Safari Corporation and its judges, officials, and sponsors will not be liable for accidents to personnel or damage to any property or equipment. The minimum age to race the race is 13. Racers under 18 must race with an adult in the boat, and an adult must remain in the boat for the duration of the race. A parent or legal guardian must sign a waiver of liability for all minors, and that applies to all of the events that the safari puts on. The Texas River Marathon, also known as the Prelim, new race this year that I'll have Bob talk about later, the Calhoun Gator Chase, the Junior Safari, and what did I just forget?
The water safari.
Oh, the Water Safari, that one. That's really important. All right, and so Kristen, you want to go through the registration bit?
All right, registration is going to go live tomorrow for the Texas Water Safari and the River Marathon. We are still working on getting the registration up for the Gator Chase, but it will be coming. So watch the social media and announcements on the page. So same registration format as in previous years using Race Hub. It's worked really well for us. Make sure when you register, you have to register with at least one team captain. Don't put, I'm going to decide later, NA, because if I see that, I'm going to return your registration and you got to start all over again. So you think about everything, you know, do you have your boat number? Do you have your team name? Do you have your team captain? Do you have all of the addresses, emails, and birth dates of your teammates? Because all of that has to go in at one time. Don't just throw it out there and then email me, go, oh, I forgot. Oh, I meant to do this, because I'm going to charge you $25 for all of that every time you start. So please think about your registration. You can register up to 2 team captains. And that's it, 2 team captains. We'll talk later about if you have to do a switch during the race, you can do that, but it's only 2. Don't email me saying, oh, but I want 3. No, 2. And and the team captains must be 18 years of age or older, cannot be younger than that. And then the new racing fees are out there. There is a change just for the Water Safari race itself. If you're registering adult youth and you've got a paddler that's under 18, there'll be a coupon code that I'll put in the announcement in the morning that you can enter that coupon code at the end, and it will it'll be basically half price for that youth paddler. So that's a change for this year. There's no refunds or deferments. We talked about the $25 admin change fee. That's if you have to change a racer, a team captain, you want to change your boat name, anything like that. Now, if you have to replace a team member, send an email to texaswatersafari@yahoo.com and we'll work through that, and then you'll be charged the $25 admin fee, and then if there's a tier pricing change, that one racer will pay that level. Your starting position is based on the results of the Texas River Marathon. So if you race that race, then your starting position will be based on your finish. If you don't race that race, then your starting position will go to how your registration placement. Out-of-state racers that don't participate in the marathon will be they're in a separate bucket, and they get the last position in each row. Every person in the boat must be from out of state. So if you have a mixed team that you've got at least one Texas paddler, that rule does not apply. Let's see. And to hold that position from the marathon, you have to be registered by that Sunday night immediately following the prelim. Let's see, and then obviously we have the postponement dates. Those are out there on the calendar right now and on the main page. You can choose your boat number, but I want you to put in 3 different options. If you put in the same boat number 3 times, I'm going to send it back. Don't do that. Send in 3 boat numbers, and then it's based on how you registered. If there's a duplicate, I'll let you know. It is helpful because you have to provide your boat numbers for the River Marathon as well, to keep the same boat number and try to register at the same time, because it's kind of easier if we're doing that. So, but just do 3 unique ones, and it's no leading zeros and only 4 digits. I had somebody send in like 6 last year. I'm like,
and no matter how cool you are, you can't be 007.
That's right. You can be 7, but not 007. Let's see. All right. Any questions about registration?
Any questions on the Facebook Live?
Okay. Are you good? You're moving into check-in? Okay, check-in. That's the other place you'll see me a lot. Race check-in is on the Friday before the race, and it starts at 9 a.m. It goes to 5 p.m. About 2 weeks before the race starts, I'll send out an email to all the person who registered the team to sign up for a check-in slot. We use I think it's signmeup.com, and so you register for your check-in time. This has worked really, really well the last 2 years. It's made things very smooth. Not everybody's bunched up and lined up with the check-in officials, so we're just going to keep doing that. So you need to sign up for a time slot. If you don't sign up for one, and I'll have need to sign up by a certain date. If you don't have it, then I'll assign you one, and I'm going to email you. You'll pick up your race packet. You come to the check-in table first. Pick up your race packet. We'll let you know if there's any outstanding fees, all of that type of stuff. Then you go and get the race official once you've got your boat unloaded and all of your equipment. We will have the waivers out on the website again so that you can sign them, print them, sign them before you get to the table. And we would prefer that. That works so much easier. So be prepared for that. Also, print out your required equipment checklist and have that filled out before you come in for check-in.
Let me make a note there. The equipment check-in is twofold. There's a set of required equipment, and you must have that at check-in, and the official must see it. That includes things like your white light for night travel. Your boat numbers have to be correct.
That's the next section.
And let's see, your PFDs. What am I missing? Flares and your spot tracker. What's that? Snake bite kit. Snake bite kit. We'll talk about in a bit. It's kind of one of those things that is just left on there for almost entertainment purposes at this point, because you can't find 2 doctors that agree what a snake bite kit ought to be anymore. But what you do not have to have is all of your. We used to make if, you know, we wanted to know if you had 6 bottles of Advil in the boat kind of thing. And we don't check for that anymore, but it must be on your equipment list. And here's the thing, you're subject to a spot check at any point. You know, if race official says, you know, let me see your, pull something out, you know, your repair kit, you know, and all of a sudden you've got, you know, 7 rolls of duct tape in the boat and you listed 1, you know, you're liable for a penalty kind of thing. So it's important that we make the distinction between this is the required equipment you must have, and you must show that at check-in. And this is the list of stuff that you say you have in the boat. Did I miss anything with that? That you must have in the boat, but we're not going to check it at check-in, but we could check it at any point during the race. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like we're not gonna check like your, you know, if you list food or let's see, if you're going to be using, you know, camelbacks for your water, we're not going to be, you know, checking that type thing. For your,
We have one late registration question
Okay.
from Gwen. She said, out-of-state paddlers, what order are they prioritized? But she said prelim lineup. Is it by registration date? I don't think.
there's no prelim lineup. You just
Right.
you just get in and go
And
with the
you
prelim.
guys do it random, like a random drawing for the out-of-state paddlers for the safari lineup?
No, it's by their date of
It's by the
registration.
registration date. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So that's just if you're out of state, completely, you don't do the prelim, you'll be by your registration date. So
Yeah,
But
it's
if
like-
you quit Texas and you moved away, tough luck, Will.
sorry, Joel and Gwen. That's what you get for moving away from Texas. No, just kidding.
Yeah, so like normally Liam from Washington State, Ito, is usually the first out-of-state team that registers. So, yeah. Let's see. Oh, spot trackers. It is very, very important that you pay attention to the spot tracker email that's going to come out about 2 weeks before the start. Please make sure that you turn it on, you get it registered, so that we are not trying to track you down on check-in day. It's very irritating to have to do that. Or if you are coming and opening a brand new box that you've just got your spot tracker and trying to make sure that you've got your activation going. So please pay attention to that. There is a mandatory race briefing at 4 p.m. that must be attended by at least 1 racer and 1 team captain.
Does that say mandatory?
Yes, it does say
So
mandatory.
that means you have to be there, right?
So,
For those
mandatory.
of you who think mandatory means optional.
Yeah,
Not
mandatory.
those of you, there's some people watching that tend to think mandatory is optional.
And there is no race day check-in allowed. You have to check in on Friday. Okay? You must check in on Friday. No exceptions. All right, I'm done for a little while.
Oh, man.
Any questions on
Oh, yeah.
Facebook?
And check in.
Gwen said she meant to say safari, just to
Oh, okay,
clarify.
yeah, it's by registration date.
Does she understand that she's like a double transplant now? Like, moved from Michigan. I love her to death. Very quickly, the required equipment is laid out in the rules completely. The only thing I want to touch on is flares. We did change this a couple of years ago to where the flares have to be attached to, if you're a solo paddler, they have to be attached just to you. If you're a team, the flares have to be, either in the life jacket, if it has a pocket, taped to it, what have you. Kristen's are still in
This is still mine from when we
Yeah,
finished
here,
in June.
hold that up.
and then hand me one.
Oh,
The other thing is
and your whistle is also attached.
flares expire. And let me tell you what you cannot find in San Marcos, and maybe not even in Austin or San Antonio, on the Friday of check-in. Because somebody else forgot them before you did. And so check the expiration date on these things.
And not a flare gun.
And technically you can bring a flare gun, but don't. Because if you're bobbing around out there, trying to load that thing is not like you're on a sailboat that's going down quick. Jerry?
I just wanted to
read how to operate them. We had a team get in the bay and couldn't figure out what to do, so read the instructions, because a lot of them were different in how they operate. So
Hopefully everybody heard that on Facebook. Jerry said, read the directions beforehand and don't bring the wrong kind. There's a specific kind. Buy the correct kind.
Oh, Jerry, could I like demonstrate
No.
it at check-in? You think the Meadow Center would be cool with that?
Nathan didn't hear that. So.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, and don't.
And actually, that was a joke. Please, for those of you who don't listen, do not fire these things off at the finish line. They're not a celebratory firework. You laugh. You know, it's like everything. It's like, you know, you've seen the meme going around about, you know, the tires the car manual used to tell you how to adjust the valves and everything, and now it says, you know, don't lick the battery acid or something like that. I mean, it's the same kind of thing. People do dumb things, and then you have to make a comment about it. They're not toys. And if you fire a flare, one of the most important things in all of these rules is if you ask for help, you have taken yourself out of the race. And so if you fire a flare, that's the same thing as you getting on your phone and calling and saying, I need to be rescued. You have said, I am out of the race, because as soon as those flares go off, we have a team that's at the finish line. That's all they're doing is looking for flares, and they're with radios, with rescue boats, etc. There's a lot about flares. All I'm going to say about PFDs is they must be a 1, 2, or a 3. You cannot use an inflatable PFD of any type. It has to be one that you wear solid, correct? We had to change that again anywhere. And you have to wear it in the bay. You have to wear it in the bay. That's important. There's some other little details in there. We will replace one if you lose it for, you know, it'll cost you something because you know, a 15-minute penalty, I think is what it says. Spot trackers. Kristen touched on having it ready when you get to check-in. A 1, 2, or, no, 1, oh shit. You cannot use a generation 1, 2, or a spot trace, okay? You have to be a generation 3, a generation 4, or an X, okay?
They can be found on eBay.
They can be found on eBay.
Yeah.
It's also, I think Spot has finally done a thing to where you can only have it activated for like a month or something, type of thing.
Much cheaper.
It's much cheaper. Don't tell Kristen I keep mine on year round because I can't remember to do that kind of thing.
And how many spots do we have?
This is not about me. It's true. Boat numbers. This is probably one of those things. It's going to, because 178, 178 boats in the race. And mind you, the first boat to finish is often, you know, at about, we'll call it 36 hours, day and a half. Whereas there's boats out there to 100 hours. That means they're spread over half of the race course when the first boat finishes. And a lot of it is at night. So it's important that we be able to identify a boat. It's also important if something bad happens that your fellow competitors can identify your boat. So they have to be at least 4 inches tall. That doesn't mean 3 7/8. You know, it means 4 inches tall. They have to be a contrasting color to the boat. So, you know, I know they make some cool black reflective stuff and you can put it on your carbon fiber boat, but, you know, I couldn't see it in daylight, much less, you know, in the dark, I guess, the light would hit it. And it has to be reflective because many of the checkpoints you're going through at night, Gonzales Dam comes to mind, is trying to identify all these boats coming through. And, you know, I guarantee you, if you're racing, you're not stopping to think, what is my boat number? Let me shout it out to the course official. And then the other thing, you must have a white light for night travel. And to preempt the question, for the Texas River Marathon, that is the prelim, you do not have to have your white light for night travel. You do not have to have your spot tracker, and you do not have to have your flares, which should indicate to you that those are mainly important, except for the spot tracker. The flares and the light are mainly important for the bay crossing bit. Then we're going to brief.
Hey, Jake, can I just ask you something real quick?
Nope.
So the flares are in situations of, we got an emergency. There's also a button on the spot tracker.
That's correct. It says in the rules you can have a preset message. I think I've got something ridiculous that I have set to send, for instance, like send water or something, something like that. You can use the preset message. If you hit the SOS function or 911 function, however that's it. Is it raining again?
It is.
Man.
Keep it up.
Thank you, Lord. The last 2 years have been pretty miserable. You can use those buttons to communicate, and this is the important part, and we'll talk about this in the race rules. You can use that because you're communicating with your team. But if you hit the SOS button or the 911 button or whatever it is, at that point it's just like firing a flare. You've initiated a rescue. Most of them, especially if they're a rental unit, are set up to call 911 and send your location. So, yeah, that's a good point.
And make sure you lift the little tab up. We've had to hit it on the Pecos. A girl had a busted appendix out there, but you have to lift the little rubber
Right.
up to hit the button. You make sure you don't make that mistake and just think you're hitting it and you're not.
Yeah, it's covered with the. That's right. All right, team captain rules and responsibilities. Kristen will do most of the talking about this because she's been a team captain about 12 more times than I have. Maybe more than that. Okay,
20,
like
20?
18 more times than I have. I've been one once.
Okay, 20 plus more times.
But here's the thing. She mentioned registering with your team captain. The team captain is an integral part of the entire process.
How many team captains are here today? Did you bring a team captain? Yeah, raise your hand high. You guys
Yeah,
are
be proud, be
rock stars.
proud.
Rock star. All right.
Team captain is an integral part of the race because that is who is monitoring your safety. Or if you are a team captain, that means you are the person monitoring your team's safety. We don't have medics set up at all of the bridges or even the checkpoints. 911 is your first call that you make with it. But all that to be said, if you get to a checkpoint and you're in bad shape, whose responsibility is it to figure that out? Your team captain. So I'll leave with that, my mumblings.
All right, let's see. So we already talked about that, that every team must have at least one team captain, but you can have up, 2 team captains, must be 18 years of age or older. Your responsibilities are signing your team through at all of the official checkpoints. So at each checkpoint, there's a board. You put their boat number, who's in the boat, sign your name, and the time. You must make contact with your team at each checkpoint or at any other legal access point to transfer water, ice, and any other items provided in Section 4. We'll get down there in a minute. You need to assess your team's health and ability to continue on in the race. Like Jay said, it's not the board's responsibility or the race officials to determine whether or not the racers should continue. Let's see. If you are not able to make contact with your team at a checkpoint, or if you think that there's a concern for their health or safety, you can initiate, a rescue. Nowadays, with having the two-way communication, you can easily reach them on a cell phone, see what's going on, or if they call you, they've broken a boat and they need rescuing, contact a race official. And Jay will talk about this a little bit more. We rescue people, not boats. If during the race a team captain has to drop out, you can do a designation or a substitution, but you need to do that at a checkpoint because that new team captain will need to sign a waiver, and there's forms that the race officials have. During the race, there's a placard with the boat number that you can put in your dashboard that helps identify that you're a team captain. It's required. Oh yeah, you must display it. If a team member drops out of the race, on the sign-in sheet, you need to put the name of that racer and put out. We need to know that they are out of the boat, you know, because the rest of the team can still continue on if they want to, but we need to know that that specific racer is out and where they got out at. And need to do that at a checkpoint. You know, if you can't continue on down to the next downstream checkpoint, there's a number here in the rules. That's the race judge at Seadrift. Let's see. You must, it's the team captain's responsibility to inform the race officials if there's been a serious medical condition or if the team is out, you know, anything like that. If you feel that there is an emergency that requires it, you can call 911. That's happened several times.
Let me touch on that for a second. Kristen said a minute ago, the team captain can initiate a rescue. There's been a couple of instances where the team says, oh, we didn't want to be rescued. We didn't say to rescue us. That's what I'm saying. Your team captain is an integral part of that whole system. And so if they say, you know, they're overdue, they're whatever, and they initiate that rescue, you know, that the race is over for that team. Because, again, we've sent somebody out to start looking for it. Did I miss anything with that?
I was just gonna add that, if you can't communicate with your team captain really well, if you're between Gonzales and Hoheim and you say, we're really tired, we may pull over and sleep, so if you see our tractor stop for some reason, don't panic. Be sure and communicate with him to know how you're doing, so that they don't freak out and say, they haven't moved in 2 hours, we're gonna go get them. So try to work all that out in the pre-race so that you've got a plan.
And because it's required that you have a phone now for emergency purposes, you can call your team captain. I mean, there's pretty much nowhere on this course anymore that you don't have signal for some distance. And except Staples.
That's true.
Which is really ridiculous, isn't it?
That's right. Staples.
But that's important. You know, you have two-way communication, and it's required that you have two-way communication, which also means don't use the two-way communication device to listen to your music and not have a way to charge it.
True.
Again, you only think and tell people this stuff when somebody's done it, right? But you can talk to your team captain all day and all night. But, this is the big but, if you call a race official, what have you done? You've asked for help and you've initiated a rescue of some sort. So you cannot call a race official, you know.
Unless you're wanting to get rescued.
And it's funny, I mean, obviously my phone has every race official there is in it. And I could just see myself thinking, where the heck am I? I'm going to call Jerry. You know, it's like, hey Jerry, how do I, you know, it's all over then.
Just one point.
Don't answer.
Your team captain can converse with any official during the race about some clarity and pass it on to you. It's just that you, the people that vote, can't. It's your team captain can't.
Right.
Hopefully everybody on Facebook heard Bob. The team captain can speak to them at a checkpoint to an official as long as you the racer, do not.
Meaning over the phone. When you get to
Yeah,
the
when you
checkpoint.
call. Yeah. Yeah, they can talk to them when they come in.
This rule.
Yeah. All right. Team captains can deliver items of food, ice, drink, or medical materials at any time during the race at their sole discretion that they deem necessary. This needs to be done at the checkpoints and publicly accessed points. You can use private property if you have permission. Don't just open up a gate and go through. Those landowners are not going to be happy. So use public access points unless you have permission from a landowner.
And by God, do not break their
Yes.
gate open.
Yes. No.
I mean, this is Texas, and they should shoot you. Not they can shoot you, they should shoot you for that. Because it creates much aggravation for us.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, don't just be going through stuff.
I don't
But-
really want you to get shot.
I'm not gonna go through it.
Not you,
Oh,
well, insurance money.
I'm gonna get it first. All right, so you must deliver from the bank, or docks. You can't go out in a boat and meet them in the middle of the river. They've gotta come to the dock or to the riverbank. You need to use reusable mesh bags, to help prevent littering. We've got some examples up here. Let's see. You can use seal a meal type bags, and if you do use Ziploc bags, they can be no larger than a gallon size. Let's see. You cannot transfer or supply like paddles, lights, repair equipment, no tables, chairs, eating utensils, tarps, anything like that. If they want that stuff, then they've got to take it in the boat with them. You cannot supply it. You can't give them glasses, sunglasses, mosquito repellent, sunscreen. Paddlers may not sleep in their vehicles.
And then Jerry and Bob are gonna talk
yeah.
a little bit about, one of the additions, to the rules this year is we've added, sleep stations, and feeding stations for various checkpoints, and Bob and Jerry are gonna speak to that, or one of the.
You guys are gonna come over here and come stand by the rule change so people can see it and hear it, on the live stream. So, I'm just gonna, farther, over here. Come on, Jerry. See the thing? Go stand right there. Oh, perfect, now everybody can see you. Thanks,
Hello there.
Jerry. Okay.
Yeah, this year we've added feeding stations, and what that is, there's, I think 5 of them, Luling 90, Cheapside, 236, Victoria, and Swinging Bridge. And what we've done is created an area for people to, if you're gonna stop and eat or stop and sleep, we're gonna want you to be in a certain designated area. And part of that's just to monitor the rules. And the other part of that is if we need to find somebody on a specific team that maybe they came in and we've heard they've had a problem or something and we're looking for them, we don't want to go chasing around the whole parking lot or, trying to find them and see where they are. So there'll be those feeding stations, and they're all listed. To probably add more maybe in years to come, see how this all works out. But that's pretty much it. But also on that, I think they'll cover it. The cutoff times have changed. So once they cover that, be sure and go through and make sure you know which ones are where. So that's about all there is.
Are these the only places you can sleep?
This will be an area, a designated area at these checkpoints, so that way we can monitor. There's been several different things that come up, but we don't want somebody going off and sleeping in a lawn chair or getting in a vehicle and driving off, and we don't know. There's been a couple of instances where that's happened, and so we're trying to monitor that and keep track of where everybody's at. So.
Obviously, you can sleep in your boat or on the side of the river anywhere that you need to. I think that clarifies it. We did this because, a good example is Palmetto. It has a crossing, people on both sides. Some people leave we don't know where they're at. They may have went and got a sandwich and came back later on. We don't really know. So we're trying to kind of go by the concept that this is one that's really regulated and people aren't getting outside help. Anytime you get to a spot and there's restrooms there, they're open to everybody, whether it's our porta cans or regular restroom, you can use it. You just can't go sleep in a car for your team captain or do something like that because that's getting support.
Yeah, and last year at Luling 90, we had an instance where we got a report upriver that somebody had broken their boat and they were stuck and about to drown. We were scrambling trying to find that boat because we didn't know whether it had already come in, had they gotten off. There's a lot of different moving parts to try to round up who's where, and so we're trying to make sure we can go to a certain area and find the people we need to find along with monitoring the rules. So yeah, we've had 2 years ago had a boat come in and didn't pull it up far enough. The other boats were paddling off and the wake started to come loose. We don't know where the team is and their boat's floating off. So So just some obvious things like that, but also for the rules. So, and those will all be marked, and we'll go over that at race check-in further as we get closer. All right.
All right, this is a good place to take about a 5-minute break. Wait. Nope, I need to do what? Oh, yeah.
One quick thing. This is super important thing. Okay, we'll do it when we get back.
And that's
We're going to go ahead and take a 5-minute break, and we will resume the live stream in just a few minutes. Thanks for tuning in, and we're up to like 26 folks, so please tune back in when we go back live.